Hey guys, this is Gabe Dimmick from the Baseball Rebellion, and this is our 2015 Home Run Derby breakdown. We've got Kris Bryant here. We're going to talk a little bit about how his Home Run Derby went, and do a quick breakdown of his swing. Really highlight one major thing that we see that he does differently than most other hitters. So I thought he did a decent job overall. JK and I talked about in our Home Run Derby draft. We talked about how we don't really think that Kris Bryant has the best swing for a home run derby format. He hits a lot of balls in games, a lot of home runs, but he doesn't hit the moon shots, the ones that go really far. He hits a lot of balls center, right center that get over the fence by a little bit, but he doesn't hit the old King Griffey Jr. Off the warehouse home runs. He just doesn't really find that gear too often. And he's a big dude. He doesn't really need to in games, especially when the pitcher is throwing 90 miles an hour plus, and the ball's gonna help him out a little bit, and the ball's gonna go. So in a home run derby with his dad here, which by the way, I thought was really cool. His dad was throwing to him. If I were in a home run derby, saw Todd Frazier with his brother, it'd be pretty cool to have your brother or your dad involved in this thing. So that's pretty cool for Bryant. But his dad wasn't throwing really hard in there to him, and so Bryant had to Kris Bryant had to provide almost all the power, and I just don't know that his swing was really geared up for it. So he one thing that he does really well, and this is one of the reasons he's one of the better hitters in the game right now, is that he crushes lower pitches. He absolutely crushes them, and the reason that he does that is because his barrel, the direction that it works, is very vertical. So you can see how his bat doesn't flatten out a ton. So his barrel goes from up, and then it just works very much like a Ferris wheel or a pinwheel. So we're going to see what his barrel does. So his barrel is going to work down this way, and this is a low and inside pitch. This is a pitch that this works really well for. So he works down in the way of the ball. He is swinging up, but it's a Ferris wheel shape instead of a merry-go-round shape. So it works more like that. Okay, so a lot of guys, and I'll back this up just so I can kind of give you a frame of reference for a lot of guys. A lot of guys will kind of flatten out their bat this way, and their bat will work very much around them, more like a merry-go-round. So he's very Ferris wheel, very vertical with his barrel, and that helps him really crush low pitches. Mike Trout does the same thing, crushes low pitches, that just absolutely crushes them. And why is this really important? Well, if you're a pitcher, you pitch at any level, coaches from a very young age have probably yelled at you to throw the ball low in the zone. I know that's what I was taught, and almost every pitcher around was taught: pound the zone low, pound the knees, pound the knees. Well, when guys like Bryant and Trout get these pitchers who throw their best pitch, that's also their best pitch that they're going to hit. So they're going to get that more often, and they're going to crush that low pitch. It also helps him to take that middle in pitch that's maybe lower in the zone and hit it out towards center field. Hit it out toward right center field. Hit it gap to gap. So he doesn't pull a lot of home runs foul. He's able to, for lack of a better term, he stays inside it well. He hits the ball gap to gap extremely well. Has power to all fields, and this is one of the reasons he has that. So if you watch a guy like Jock Peterson, he flattens out a little bit more, and he absolutely crushes high pitches. So when pitchers make mistakes, Peterson is your guy. But when I'd say when a pitcher makes his best pitch, maybe Kris Bryant's a better hitter, and I think overall, he's going to maybe hit for a higher average just because as his career goes on, because he's going to be able to handle the pitcher's best pitch, and he's going to use the pitcher's best weapon as his best weapon. So that's something that Kris Bryant does, better than anyone else. If he competes in the home run derby again, I would love to see him find an extra gear and see how far he can hit it, and maybe try to move a little more. And these are just things he doesn't really have to do in a game. It looks like he was taking more of a BP swing, but overall, pretty good job for your first time out there. I'll bet the nerves were going a little bit, and we really like Kris Bryant. JK's done multiple breakdowns on him. So if you check the rest of our site, you're going to find some Kris Bryant articles. So check him out. I'll highlight one more thing just because I've highlighted it with the other guys. I mean, as he's making contact, watch how his hands stay very high on his shirt. So he's not dropping his hands, but guess what he is dropping? He's dropping his back shoulder. So his back shoulder is way in there. This is a pitch that's pretty low. It's at his mid thigh. So he's really dropping that shoulder. Look at this angle. Such a steep angle here from his front forearm, his front shoulder down through his hands and down through the ball. His barrel's really coming up through it, but sometimes it almost worked against him because when his dad threw him a little bit of a higher pitch, he would take that same path to it, and he didn't quite have the juice to get him out, but he hit the ball so high, and in the home run derby format for this year, you had to wait for the ball to hit the ground. So he was like a punter and having a ton of hang time. So he just had to wait for forever. So I think in the future, if his dad can work a little lower in the zone, that'd probably help him out. And overall, I think that hurt him a little bit, just being able to hit the ball so high. And that's something that he talks about trying to do in games. He says he tries to lift the ball all the time, and that's something we preach to our guys as well. Not to hit pop-ups, but to drive the ball in the air. Ground balls don't get you paid, don't get you to hit in the middle of the lineup. So those are two things Kris Bryant is going to do for sure for a long time. Hit in the middle of the lineup, and he's going to get paid. So thanks for watching, guys, and let us know your thoughts on some of these breakdowns and some of these swings.